We spend a large portion of our lives in our vehicles, and there's a possibility that you may find yourself in a bad situation in the car. And we can do some things to mitigate the risk. And the first thing I want to talk about is your distance between you and the car in front of you. Now, when we're in traffic, a good rule of thumb is that now when I say traffic, I mean like we're stopped in traffic, stop and go, we're at a traffic light, stoplight, we're waiting to make a turn, that sort of thing. A general rule of thumb is I want to be able to see the rear wheels of the car in front of me. Because then if a situation arises and I need to move and he is blocking me, I can easily turn around him. If I get to the point where I can no longer see his wheels, I'm too close to him to easily get around him, and before I do so, I'm going to have to back up. And there's a good chance that the guy behind me has crawled up my butt and I can't back up. So I'm stuck, and that may just be a matter of a minor inconvenience because the person in front of you, their car has died, or they're stopping to let somebody off or something along those lines. Or it could be that this car is stopped in front of me and three guys jump out and run towards me because it's going to be a carjacking. So this distance will determine whether you can respond or not by just driving away from it. Let's see what it looks like in real life. Now, when we're actually moving, how far away should you be from the car in front of you? And one way of thinking about it is in seconds. So if you're driving at a speed of around 30 miles an hour, you want to have about 2 seconds between you and the car in front of you. That gives you enough time to react to what they're doing. And if they're going more like 40 or 50 miles an hour, you want about 3 seconds. So how do you determine that? It's by watching the car in front of you, and then when they pass something, counting how long it was between. All right, so we got the school sign in the car in front of me, 101, 102. Took me 3 seconds to get to the same spot. So I'm following 3 seconds behind them, which is plenty considering I'm going 25 miles an hour. It's all about having enough time to react. Now I have to stop here. I'm going to leave enough space so I can get around him. He doesn't know what he's doing yet. I certainly don't know what he's going to do. I want to give myself some options. Always be thinking ahead. I'm not watching him, I'm watching past him. And maybe I have to swing out here a little bit so I can see past him, because I want to react to things that he hasn't even reacted to. So I'm always looking as far ahead as possible, and so I can see things happening. I'm not depending on him and his brake lights to tell me that I need to do something. All right, so he's slowing down, and we're coming up to a stoplight, and I want to remember that I want to be able to see his tires anytime I have to stop. While we're at it, the question might come up about how many hands should you have on the wheel and where should they be? For optimum control of the vehicle, you want your hands both on the wheel, and you want them at 9 and 3, opposed to each other. All right, let's come in behind him. All right, so I'm going to leave some distance. I can see his rear tires. Now, if for some reason something happens, I can very easily get around him if necessary. I'm also driving a sport utility vehicle with four-wheel drive and a high suspension. So if I need to go up on a curb to get out of a situation, I can certainly do that. I also have the ability, because I'm in a full-frame car, that I could push things out of my way if need be. Now, you may think this is paranoid and overreacting, and I just ask you to remember Reginald Denning, the truck driver who was pulled out of his vehicle, out of his truck, after the Rodney King verdict. Once again, now if I came all the way up here, I'm too close. If he stopped, I'm blocked. I'm not going to be able to do anything. Additionally, if I'm that close, I have no time to react to anything he does. And it may be something innocent. He's just doing something stupid, like all of a sudden he decides he wants to back up and make a turn, and he doesn't look in his rear view mirror to see if there's somebody behind him. So having that little extra space is good. Now the downside, especially if you're living in an area with aggressive drivers, is that extra space may be an invitation for some people to pull in front of you, and you're going to have to balance that out. There's the point where you have enough room to be able to pull around somebody if necessary, but not let enough room for somebody to feel like they can pull in from a side road. And finding that balance can be a little tricky, but you'll get it with a little bit of experience. So, talking to the video camera, I got a little distracted and I got a little closer than I wanted to. I could still see his rear tires, but just barely. And so, once again, if I needed to react by going around him, I would have been kind of stuck. So, just some basic things for you to think about in your day-to-day driving, just to make part of your habit. You know, you have to think about it a little bit now, but once you get used to it, it'll just become part of the way you drive on a daily basis. And that one time you need it because the person in front of you has done something stupid or there's an attack, you'll be prepared for it. This is another Tuesday Tactical Tip of the Week. I'm Peter Burlingame of the Self-Defense Initiative. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there.